Hello and welcome to the Paul O'Connor Podcast, where we'll be talking about the motor trade, entrepreneurship, business and beyond.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul. We are back, and we are back with our Q2 business summary. We did a Q1 business summary, and just discussing how our quarter went, trends we're noticing, whether we're making money, whether we're not making money, how many cars we're selling, how the business is going. Just put this on silent.
That would be a good
idea. So people seem to be interested in it. It got, I think, about 1,500 plays on Spotify, and I don't know, a couple of hundred anyway on YouTube as well. In the interest in transparency, I like talking about it. I often talk on TikTok about just general behind the scenes stuff. Just because I do run a transparent business model. I'm transparent with staff and I'm transparent with customers as well. We do make good money here, and I'm not afraid to say it.
How dare you?
How dare I? I know, yeah. I also spend big money here, might I add. But it is quite a good business, which I'm obviously very fortunate to have. But so we thought we'd just discuss some of how Q2 was basically. In Q1, we were kind of, the general gist of it was, I think it was okay, it was fine, but
could have been better.
Could have been better. You, I think, more so, you anticipated Q2 would have been better. I was kind of like, I don't know, and it was.
It was, yeah.
So I suppose
we had a bit of momentum going into it.
It was. We started. I think we finished up March, quite busy, and things were starting to kind of pick up then, and I think it kind of got into it then. And April was decent. May was a cracker. Yeah, it was the best month. Actually, the best month money wise I've ever had here. Very good numbers wise. Just a really, really good month. June was decent for June. But overall, just I suppose a quick summary on some of the numbers. We sold 159 cars. That's including trade cars. 133 retail. And I think it was just up slightly from Q1, which we did 130 retail. Profitability per car in that period was up about 15%. Now I'll touch as to what the reasons for that was as well. There's a number of reasons, and again, sometimes when profitability goes up over a period of time, it's not that you're doing anything in particular that much better. It's just
things are just working
in your favor for a variety of reasons, and we'll touch that in a while. I think our buying of cars was the main reason. Was a lot better. Workshop wise as well, we're up around 10%. Business wise in the workshop in terms of retail customers as well. Like, so for the people that don't know, retail is, a lot of our workshop is prepping our own cars for sale and looking after warranty work and all that kind of thing. Retail is then, if you bought a car for us, or even if you didn't bought a car for us, but you want to get your car serviced or you want to get a time belt on.
Just any outside work.
Any outside work, yeah. We call it kind of retail. That was up around 10% as well. And in particular, this month has been great so far. We've had some record-breaking weeks, and we're just really busy. It's really building momentum now as well at the moment. Pretty much all positive. Obviously we had a fair whack of warranty. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? So I suppose just to go back to our car sales, numbers up slightly. What's your thoughts on it? What do you think the reason behind I suppose the good quarter was?
Good quarter. We had obviously a lot of good cars come into stock, so I suppose selling isn't, I'm not going to say it's easy, but once you've the right stock, they'll fly out the door. We had the right stock. We bought them for the right money. Our marketing actually wasn't great throughout the quarter. I think it was literally just, we had the right cars in stock and the right money was in the cars.
No, 100%.
The marketing was terrible.
I feel like, and I know people follow us on TikTok and all that, and I do some of my personal page and maybe the business page. Like, as I'm well aware, our TikToks have been lacking, and I know they have. I keep saying, sometimes like you do kind of TikToks for business, but then when the business is good anyway, it's like, well, then the TikToks is like, do I need to do the TikToks? And then what happens then, it gets a bit quieter, and like, do you know what, I should have done the TikToks for the last few months, because that gets momentum as well. So it's kind of a tough one. There's no instant win from doing comedy TikToks or fun videos and all that. There isn't, like, but it builds up the brand name over time and it gets people talking and everything like that. So it's kind of like you just have to trust that is part of the reason you got busy in the first place, and you have to keep doing it. But it is, when it's busy and cars are selling and getting inquiries, it's very easy not to do that. And I'm not saying that's the reason for not doing it, but yeah. So yeah, marketing wasn't great at all.
Marketing was
Okay,
terrible.
for Q3, I promise we will do more marketing and TikToks. And all
That means we will post 5 videos next quarter.
No, we did way more than that. We didn't do.
No, we did a bit.
What it is, from doing, like, especially the funny videos that people seem to like or whatever, 90% of them are I write them or I make them up and I do the script for them and things like that. But what I need to do is actually find time, and I do have time. It's my own fault, by the way. I need to allocate time. Allocate time to sit down and get inspiration and come up with scripts and come up with ideas, and then allocate the time here to actually doing them. We do have the time to do it. We just get scattered and we run around the place doing silly things sometimes. Some productive, some not productive. But anyway, yeah. So I would agree with that. If you do a marketing summary of Q2, I would say it was quite poor.
Pretty terrible.
it was yeah. Me and Paul did the marketing here, and it was poor. Anyway,
there's always an excuse as well. It's like, oh, we were too busy.
No, we weren't. It's just all it is. What you have to do when you're doing marketing is, when you're recording videos, you have to be rigid with it. We have to do it first thing in the morning, ideally. Like, we're recording this now at just 9:30 in the morning, right? If we waited until lunchtime, there'd just be always other stuff on, and you wouldn't get it done. And then, especially if you're recording videos here, there's people in later in the day, and then
you're halfway through a
video and someone comes
Paul's
in,
wearing a wig.
I'm wearing a wig or I'm wearing a dress. Not yet, but I might. So you have to do it. You have to allocate time. You have to be kind of strict with it, and you have to. Sometimes we do a lot of videos below in the yard, and the yard doesn't even look that good, but it's out of the way, and you're less likely to get distracted. So I would say marketing was poor, but we do need to up that, and that's completely and utterly my fault for not doing it. So, in terms of the buying cars, what happened in April and May in particular, I would say, I'm going to say 75-80% of the cars we sold were Japanese imports. And the reason it fell like that, normally I'm happy to do kind of 50-50 between Irish cars, let's say, and the Japanese imports. We just had a lot of cars that landed in April or May. Now, for example, in June, I think it was June, we had very little arrive in June.
Very little in June.
Too much in the other months. So we actually just had an absolute wallop of imported cars in May and June. So therefore, we just ended up selling all of them. The yard was full, and we'd so many of them below there, which was good in a way. But then when we sold a lot of those cars, and we said, right, that's it now. We have to find cars in Ireland now.
Very hard to replace.
We found them was very hard to replace, and they were very hard to buy cars that we wanted on the Irish market. What I found as well with you're buying cars in Ireland as well, and we've said it before, so there's a couple of times a year what happens is there's a price correction in the market, but customers when they're selling the car to us, they haven't realised it yet, right? So we've realised that the price we paid for these cars 3 or 4 months ago was too much to pay them now, because cars naturally depreciate over time. But there's always a 1 or 2 month period before customers they're still thinking they're still going to get January's prices, where we're kind of planning out the prices for the rest of the year. And it's really difficult. There's a couple of times a year where it's really difficult, I find, to negotiate deals.
There has been a couple of big corrections on cars as well.
Big correction on cars. We had a lot of 5 Series, let's say, and we didn't do particularly well out of a lot of them because there was a bit of a price correction on those, right? And they were worth less than we thought we were. So nearly all the 5 Series we had in stock, we had to reduce in price by at least 1,000, some of them by 2,000. So it obviously massively affects our margin. So therefore, right, when we're buying our next batch of them, we're going to want to be paying less than we did for the current batch that we just sold. But customers haven't realised that. They're still thinking they're getting the price for 6 months ago. By the way, I totally get why they would. But what happens then, it takes a month or two of customers having their cars on Done Deal or trying to sell them for them to realise that, okay, maybe it's not worth that much. And that happens. So right now, there's a little bit of a...
See, it takes some time as well to see it in garages, because garages will have cars that they've paid too high for. They're still up for strong money.
That's exactly
it.
And
they don't want to reduce them just yet. They're still trying it. So when they're looking at the market, it does look like they're still worth that. But like,
there's a lot, just people realise as well that a lot of dealers will have cars advertised for higher prices, and that's what we're literally just summarising what you just said there. But they in an ideal world they would love to be selling them cheaper, but they probably gave too much for them as a trade-in, or they bought them for too much a couple of months ago and are just trying to hold out to get a good money for the cars, even though realistically, if they were replacing that car into stock there now, they'd be given a couple of grand less for it, because now they've realised actually that car was 29,950 retail, not 31,950, but I gave 28 for it, I spent 1,000 prep on it, and I'm going to make no money on it if I sell it for the price that arguably it should. So but that's just the way things are. So I find, one, the prices are kind of shifting downwards, but customers' expectations haven't yet, and this happens the whole time. And also, like, again, like the quality of the stuff on the Irish market, because they're just not generally maintained, it would generally be of much lower quality than the Japanese imports, which is why we give 12 months warranty on the Jap imports and 6 months on the Irish stuff, and there's a good reason for that. So that's kind of tricky. And as we would always have discussed as well, everything, the pool of cars in the Irish market that are desirable and versus are getting, it's getting smaller and smaller. And every dealer, it's not like we're the only dealer that wants to buy the cars that sell quick and customers want. Every other dealer does. Yeah. And also every other dealer doesn't want particular cars, the higher mileage stuff, the undesirable brands, the cars that are given bother, the cars that aren't selling. So you've every dealer in the country chasing an ever decreasing pool of cars. Along
with that, the list seems to just be getting bigger and bigger of cars that are giving bother. Yeah. That's
honestly it, lads. There's so many cars that even we sold 2 years ago to customers that I wouldn't be buying again because they gave us so much bother. And every other dealer is the same. Again, we could list out 10, 15 different models of cars, and it's not just particular one brand. People know the obvious ones, but there's other ones being added to the list now that realised actually these aren't particularly.
And
what you do
for a good lot.
And customers, and there's some cars then that, customers maybe have bought off us and they want to trade it in somewhere else, and a lot of dealers are just saying no to cars now. That used to happen. There used to never be a car years ago that you would always get a price in certain cars, no matter, even if it wasn't a fantastic one, you'd always get a dealer saying, yeah, I'll take that. Nowadays, people are saying, you know what, I don't want it at any money, which is a real kind of shift in the way the market has worked in the last couple of days. So if there's more and more of those cars, the dealers moving away from, and therefore customers are moving away from, and more people going to the other cars, which, as we said, the pool is getting smaller. That's why prices are staying high for these cars.
Very strong money.
Yeah, people are. Yeah. So like it's you can imagine if everyone wants the same types of cars and there's a limited supply of them on the Irish market. Like let's say for example that Skoda Superb Sportline, right? Me and Jack, anytime we have them up, we nearly just do it just rage baiting now at this stage. But they're really they hold their value seriously well. And some people say, oh, it's silly money for a 6 or 7 year old Skoda or whatever it is. The reason why they're popular is because they look the part, right? Their Skoda Superbs would generally be seen as a very good, reliable car. And they're not cars you can import from Japan. There's none of them in Japan at all, right? And also, their prices are quite strong in the UK as well, okay? So therefore, they don't make sense to import from the UK because especially if you add in the VRT, be saucy enough on them as well because they're a diesel. If you add in the VRT and you add in import duty VAT, they wouldn't make sense to import from anywhere really, basically. So therefore, you are left with quite a small pool of those cars that are in Ireland that are being sold and traded in. And then also, because no one wants a car over 170, 180 kilometres anymore either. If you get under
2017 or
2018 car, under 30 grand, let's say, for example, in people's price range, and if it ticks all these boxes, tick, spec, mileage and everything, that's why the prices are strong. Because a lot of people want them and there's not that many of them around. No. Supply and demand. Everyone has heard it a million times over, but it literally is so true.
And that particular car, I don't think there's even pictures up. I think there was 2 inquiries on it this morning.
Yeah, it's an 18 Skoda Superb Sportline. It's up for 24,950. Everyone is laughing at the price. We will sell it at that price, no bother at all. We obviously have to give good money for these cars as well, and they obviously need a bit of prep and all that kind of thing. But it's not even photos up online of that car, and it will sell, without even being properly advertised. So that's one thing that's always to note. So that's the Irish market, and certain cars maintain high prices. We've done quite well out of the cars coming in from Japan. Japan is a strange one, right? We buy cars all throughout the year, and the prices, they fluctuate.
Massively.
Yeah. I was there back in, this is now July, and I was back in March, and I remember saying to you, I was like, lads, I don't know what's gone wrong in Japan, but the money, the profit in these cars is not what it used to be. I was paying high shipping prices. Again, that's something that fluctuates as well. And I was making way less money than I was last year from. So I was like, oh Jesus, lads, I'm going heavy on this stuff, and I'm not making money off it. So I was like, I stuck through it, and then the current batch I got in, especially in the last quarter, there's been much more money in them. But now the stuff I'm buying at the moment that will land in, let's say, October, November, I'm paying a bit more for that again. So it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And
swings and roundabouts.
It swings and roundabouts, yeah. So we're doing well of the stuff we're currently selling. The stuff I'll be getting in a couple of months' time won't be as good, sorry. But so that's why it's always important to keep other options open. I said I do want to maybe start bringing in more stuff from the north again. We were looking into that. We do need to keep relationships with other traders, say in the south. We're not going that's what I found as well. And I mentioned it on one podcast I know a while ago, but I used to buy 60%, I'd say, of my cars from the Keary's group back before Brexit. And then Brexit happened, and the way they used to buy in cars, the way they used trade cars completely changed. And then that went from like 60% down to like, I don't think they were trading anything for a while, possibly down to none. But I had other options open. I was buying in cars from the UK at the time, but I had a load of other traders. We started buying cars in the Irish market, and we started doing this. But I know there were some lads then, after Brexit, for example, that a lot of lads had all their eggs in the one basket. They used to get all their stuff, let's say, from Keary's, or they used to get all their stuff from the UK. And then after a big event like Brexit, they just did not know what to do. So same with Japan at the moment. I know some lads then, when they start doing well out of the Jap imports, that they just go fully 100% solely into them.
And I
can see why they don't, but that I think that is a foolish move, right?
100%.
Obviously, while there's money in it, while it's going well, do it, but do not burn all your bridges with other traders. Do not burn your bridges with all other options. Don't get too rusty, or don't tailor your business for something that could easily change for an event that's out of your control. Like the government could double the VRT on the Jap import golfs and polos that so many lads do well of. They could. They could, like, you know what I mean? They could change VRT, they could change VRT, they can do anything. Could do an extra tax on petrol or diesel imports, maybe we'll go for electric. That could happen next year or the year after. All these things can happen. So just always keep that in the back of your head. I find, which is a kind of an important way to frame your business. So they've been doing well. I touched on the workshop as well. Obviously, that's not an area that Paul would be involved with, but I'm involved with because it's my business. But we're really seeing, and credit to Richard and John and all the lads below there, we're really seeing that's taken off well, especially in the last. It's been doing well all year. Actually, last year was good too, but it's doing even better now again, I think. We're getting a great name. We're getting a lot of repeat business. It's now a kind of a standalone part of my business that's profitable in its own right. So the money we're getting in from the retail business is covering the bulk of my overheads below there, between the wages and the rent and everything like that. Yeah. And obviously it does all my prep work as well. So that was always my goal from it. I wanted it to be its own kind of standalone business. And between, I suppose, the work that we charge up to the sales cars, it is profitable on its own regard. But even just taking the retail on its own, that nearly covers everything, which is super. Because that people have to remember as well. I never started a workshop. I know nothing about workshops. I still know. I know more now. I know a lot more now because I've had to. Because I've 10 staff below, or 9 anyway. There's a fair few anyway. So I've had to learn more about it. But in fairness, it runs itself by the most part, thanks to the lads below there. But to have something like that's almost a standalone profit business, just from work that I wouldn't even have been aiming to do when I opened it. When I opened it, it was just purely just to get my own cars prepped and look after warranty, because by the time we got to 2020 in business, we were plowing through so many cars that a lot of the other garages were always busy with their own customers and everything like that. And again, as I said, we used JJ around the corner, and it was great to start with, but we were just doing so much with so many cars coming in that
it was just out of necessity. The necessity.
Lads didn't have the capacity to do all our stuff and their own customer stuff. And like, if we're trying to do it now in a place like Dungarvan, you forget about it. Like, do you know what I mean? We couldn't, with the amount of cars we go through, you couldn't do it. So started that, and then it kind of grew into a retail workshop as well. So that Paul O'Connor services, as we call it, that it's kind of, that's a standalone business by itself, which is absolutely great. And I'm delighted with it as well. One thing that Richard, our workshop manager, noticed there recently as well, because we're often on about the price of work that we get done below there and the price of service work and everything like that. A lot of people, some people give out about, other people don't understand that that's the way it is. But the parts prices, and I touched on that with you there before we went live here, but they've gone up. I think we're estimating between 40 and 50%. The price that we're paying for parts have gone up in the last 2 or 3 years, which is crazy.
It's a massive increase.
And I know you mightn't see it too much on the cheaper stuff, like filters and things like that, and oil. But well, you would see it because it all adds up. But even just things like clutch kits and timing belt kits and all that kind of thing, and add obviously all the business overheads as well. I'm not going to play the poor out, but wages have gone up a good bit, rent's gone up for me anyway, electricity, all these prices have just skyrocketed. So unfortunately, it's the end user that has to pay for all these different things. I suppose on the downside in terms of workshop, and even I suppose the after sales would be warranty. I suppose with part prices gone up so much, our warranty has gone up a lot as well. We spent just over 35 grand on warranty in Q2, and that's not including like a lot of the that wouldn't cover, that would just cover the parts and a kind of a internal labor rate essentially. It wouldn't cover the amount of times, the amount of recovery trucks we have to send out, or collecting cars, or dropping out loan cars, or the amount of man hours that we've had in just dealing with customer complaints and just following up with customers. The cost is huge. I say if you were to add in all the actual other costs, you're definitely looking at 15 grand a month that I spend on warranty and after sales customer service, possibly more. So there's that. Loan cars.
So many loan cars.
Isn't there?
So many.
Loan cars, people's getting a service work done, problem with their car goes, and they need, obviously it's self-explanatory, car goes out on loan, but we could have between 5 and 10 cars at any given time out on loan.
There was there 7 or 8 cars out in the one go, definitely consistently throughout nearly every month.
What another cost people mightn't realise as well is loan cars. I want to say 5. I'm not checking. I have 5 designated loan cards, right, at any given time. I try and change them out a bit, and I try and sell some of them before they lose too much money and everything like that. But that's 5 extra cars that I have to pay tax on, maintenance on. People love dropping back loan cars with no fuel in them as well. Just topping them up by 20 quid, so we're not giving out to someone
stinking of fags. Stinking.
We have to give them cleaned, all that kind of thing. So it's like having 5 company cars just on the road, basically. So again, that has putting them through NCTs and things like that. But
a lot of people are quite good as well.
Not to be honest, we're
not
giving out about a lot of people have fuel in their cars coming back and don't stink out the cars. So we love our other customers. So yeah, there's that, and a lot of problems as well. You see, because some of the times now there's a lot of parts shortage, of delays for car parts coming in basically, and sometimes we could be waiting weeks for a part to come in, and unfortunately when you're waiting weeks for a part to come in, the customer can't drive their old car or their current car, and they have a loan bar car for weeks, not days. So there's that, and so that and then even just because cars are getting more complex and specialized, there's certain mechanics. A lot of times our mechanics can't fix a particular issue, and it has to go to a specialist, or it could be an electrical issue, or it could be an automatic gearbox issue, or a variety of reasons. Because cars are getting more complex, certain jobs are requiring specialists to do, and specialists in any area of after sales or motor mechanics, specialists are always up the walls busy. If you're a young person and want to, if you're good with your hands and want to get into become a car mechanic, qualify as a mechanic and then specialize in something. There's guys that specialize in the most obscure things as well. There's Kennedy's garage out in Portlaw, for example. This isn't obscure, there's a load of them on the road, but they specialize in Mazdas, and they are out the door fixing Mazdas. So if you can specialize in a particular type of car, especially cars that other mechanics mightn't be necessarily
don't want to do. Yeah.
But you should do that, or specialize in mapping or ECU or diagnostics and all that kind of thing. If you specialize in the kind of the computer side of things, you will do really, really, really well. That's where the future is, isn't it? But yeah, when a car's gone off to a specialist, like say for example, when we send a car to Autotrans up in Dublin, it was an automatic gearbox issue. Thankfully, for given the amount of autos we sell, we don't have too much bother with them. But you know, they could be a month fixing the car, sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes more. So you can imagine yourself then that 6 weeks, for example, if it's a longer one, of the customer not understanding why their car isn't fixed, even though it's completely out of our control. The customer looking for follow-ups, looking for this and that. And often, you know, like it can be a tricky overall process, and a loan car out for 6 weeks as well. But yeah, like that's just, again, I'm not giving out about that is part of the service we provide. There's a reason why we buy cars at a certain amount and then we sell them at a higher amount, and we get the higher amount. It's because it's not just the car you're buying, it's the
after sales.
It's the after sales, and it's the support that, like, even if, for example, if there's an issue with your car, obviously we'll cover it within the warranty period, but it's not only just we'll cover it, we will ensure that you're not put out of your way. You know, like, can you imagine some people now, if they only had one car in the household and they didn't have the car for 6 weeks, try renting a car for 6 weeks. Yeah,
Very
how much do you pay
expensive.
for that? Thousands, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just part of
I always
part
refer
of the
back to
service.
Philip's favourite line. Philip is sales executive, he's downstairs. We're not just trying to sell you one car. We want
He
you to
loves
come back
saying
and
that.
buy another.
Yeah.
Every single time.
No,
Loves
but it's
it.
true though.
But it is
that's,
true.
That's a huge part of our business. Like, we do a lot of repeat business. Like, but
Yeah.
unless you do that, and we've had a good few people commenting to us lately. Now, like, we can't please everyone. I think we keep 98-99% of people happy. Like, they're used cars, they will break down, but we never deliberately do anything that we shouldn't be doing. We never try and fuck anyone over. We genuinely don't. But cars sometimes still break our heart, and they'll keep giving bother, and you think you'll have fixed the problem, and it'll just keep coming back. But we do, and I feel, and especially we've had a few people complimenting us lately that said, listen, like, your customer service has been, like, we dropped loan, especially if someone has a bit of bother with their car. Like, we've dropped loan cars. We did one recently. We dropped a loan car to a customer up in Dublin and collected their car and brought the car to a specialist who was 15 minutes away, because they didn't have time to do that, for example, but because they had a good bit of bother previously with the car, we'll bend over backwards for someone. And it's part of the service. And sometimes you can turn a problem with a car, if you look after it well and fix it well, even though that particular car had a load of hassle, you'll still get a repeat customer. Because a lot of people, and you have to remember as well, 90%, some people give out about customers and warranty and this and that, but you have to remember, I think 90% of people are sound.
Yeah.
And they know
It's
you're
just
not.
the bad ones
that stick in your head. Like, 90% of people, they'll know that the problem that they have with their car isn't your fault. Not even really the car's fault. It's just the way things are. And they'll understand if you try and fix it to the best of your ability, it should be okay. Anything else you'd like to go through, or anything else you can think of on the quarter?
No, I was happy with the quarter.
What do we want for Q3?
I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as I was for Q2.
No.
I hope that changes.
Yeah. Q3 can be a tricky one, because, like, you have pure summer season in the middle of it. Like, you know, this month our numbers have been okay, but it feels quiet.
It does.
Yeah. And August then, August was our quietest month last year. Well, maybe December technically, but we were closed for like 8-9 days of it. Like, so yeah, I think if we were close to Q2, that would be super. But we'll see how it goes. We've a good lot of cars landing in next month.
Yes.
A lot of cars landing in next month, so hopefully we'll do well out of them. Hopefully by next month, well, it will be a bit easier to pick up cars in Ireland, and prices will have kind of stabilised and levelled out. The workshop still seems quite busy, so I'm hoping the workshop will be fairly consistent with Q2, which is great. We always pray that we don't have too much warranty or too much hassle.
Touch wood.
We don't know. It's mad, right? You could have... It just comes in waves. Like, you could have 1 week, there'd be like no bother whatsoever, and then you could have one Monday morning, the phone will ring like 8 or 9 times, and the workshop would be chaos. Like, it's just the way it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you again to all our customers, for any people that bought cars or even referred people in Q2. We really appreciate it. We're hoping Q3 will be good, and we'll also promise we'll do more marketing. We're already 3 weeks in and we haven't done it.
We haven't done it.
We'll do more marketing. We've got some good podcasts lined up. We've got some good podcasts on the way up now.
Very busy day tomorrow with podcasts.
Very busy day tomorrow with podcasts. And we will do well out of that. Well, I don't know, we won't do well financially out of it. I don't actually know what I get out of it. It's something I decided doing.
It's just a hobby.
It's kind of a hobby. And do you know what the cool thing about doing podcasts is, and the main reason I did it, is I get to meet people that are doing well and that I'm intrigued by as well. And it's building a network for us. And a lot of people I talk to, I really admire as well. And I like learning from them. I like hearing people's story. And if it makes good listening, then that's a bonus, like, you know what I mean? And I hope it does. I'm asking questions to people that I genuinely I'm intrigued to find the answer by myself. So
they are very good business relationships.
Yeah, they're a good business relationship. It's a great, a lot of people copy what I do. So no, don't be copying.
Don't start a podcast.
Everyone copies what I do. A lot of people do. But what I like about it, it's good for building a network, and that's what I found good. And it's a good excuse to meet people or to have a chat with someone. Because if you just said, hey, can I just pop up and have a chat with you there for an hour?
It's weird.
It'd be weird. Like, people would be like, no, what are you on about? Do you know? But like, let's
record
a podcast, and
look,
it's going to get thousands of streams, and it'll be good for your business, I hope, and you might get something out of it, and we might get something out of it, and it'll be, you know, be worthwhile doing, and it'll be something there that people can listen to this week or next week or next year or whatever. Whereas just asking people for chats would be a bit weird, and maybe they might think I'm coming on to them. But yeah, more marketing, more podcasts, more content. I am looking for a full-time content creator as well.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people already. It is someone that would need to be here in Dungarvan on site at least a couple of days a week. So I've had people contact me from like Dubai and like, I don't know, Bangladesh and all that. Like, I was like, no. I know I can get
I'm
like
just picturing like stock images and stock videos.
Yeah. No, I just like no, lads. So I want them recording a lot of stuff here, because we're going to go from here on out. But that's pretty much it, I think.
That's it.
Nice, short and sweet. I don't think we were spent too long. We're probably half an hour actually. So that's pretty much it. And on to Q3.